welcome back. Luke here. We got Poppy Shorty over there. Welcome back, everyone. It's another episode. Shorty, how you doing, my man? I saw that you've had quite the lazy Saturday yesterday.
Question: What shirt are you wearing?
Come on, you gotta guess this one.
Is that my shirt?
It
Are you
is
wearing my shirt? Oh, look
shirt.
at you!
It is your shirt.
Yes. I got groupies. Yeah, well, I got one, but yes, I'll take it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man.
You know
Thank
what?
you. I'm better
Man,
now.
it was not planned, by the way. I threw something on. I was like, well, let me put Shorty on, and I knew I knew we were doing this today, and then I just like maybe 20 minutes ago I have it on. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I got it on. That's awesome. So,
It's like
yeah,
laundry.
man.
It's like laundry day, man. You know, it's like the girls that wear the granny panties. You know, on laundry day, you just wear the Shorty Torres t-shirt. What, regardless, you're wearing it. So I'm happy if it's a Sunday, it's a Monday. You're wearing it out in public. Wear it out in private. I don't care. I appreciate it. Thank you. So that makes me feel a lot better. I'm well. Sadly, I think my fight just got postponed. The event, wherever we are supposed to have it, just got moved. So that's the hard part about fighting. And it's something that I explain to people. And it's not just my promotion, there's other promotions and just things in general. You see life, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, that fight pulling out.
Yeah.
Like it happens at every promotion. So it's not at all throwing shade at Brave. But the fact is, being a fighter, and especially where you get paid well, to where for me, I do this full time. Luckily, I don't need to do other stuff. I do some small things on the side, but fighting is my priority, and
Yeah.
it is my main source of income. The only problem is if I don't fight, there's no income, and there's little things that I can do in here or there. Corner fighters do. I do military tours, I teach seminars, stuff like that, and it's all great. But fighting is a priority, and sometimes, we explained off air, I was supposed to do a military tour, but it was around the same time my fight was going to be. But now, so I told him, I was like, hey, I can't do it, but the next time, please, I'd love to, be on the tour. I'd love supporting the troops. And then my fight got postponed, and I still haven't really heard anything of when it might be changed. So I was like, okay, well, let me talk to the military group. Hey, can I go? And they're like, oh, dude, we already booked everything. We're so sorry. We acted fast once you said you couldn't go. So I'm like, it's okay. I get it, but so it's two paydays that it's unfortunate that I can't be able to do, and two opportunities to be able to, one, grow my name, and the other one to be able to help and support the troops, which in turn also helps grow my name. So that's two things, plus obviously pay my whatever bills I have to pay. So
Yeah.
I'm here in Vegas, dude. I want to put it all on red, but the crazy thing is, you got to just be positive, and things happen for a reason. So for me, maybe I wasn't ready for whatever opponent they were going to give me, or maybe things just weren't going to work out the way they wanted to, or what I even expected. So I have to be as positive as possible, because no matter what, I will never know. So whatever happens next, I just got to keep on training. For me, I'm going to stay in Vegas, stay as optimistic as possible. I get to help Lazy Boy for his next fight. Hopefully he's fighting in September. Fingers crossed for that. Hopefully we get a fighter and a contract signed. And me, I'm just trying to do as much as possible, stay as active and out there as possible, to be able to just go, hey, I'm ready to fight whenever, and I'm excited until then. So I mean, I'm alive, I'm well. I just finished stretching, which I feel a lot better after. But for people who know me really well, there's three things I hate most in this world, and hate's a very strong word, and I mean it truly. With these three things, is math. Oh, dude, once fractions and decimals came into play, I just
I hear
went
you there.
downhill. No thumbs up. I went downhill. And
That's fair.
um, packing, because I'm a person that overthinks and I overpack. And usually I'm gone for 2-3 months at a time. So it's never like, oh, I'm just going to Vegas. It's only going to be hot.
Yeah.
That's it. Usually I'm in Vegas. Then I'm in the Dominican Republic. Then I'm in Mexico. And then I'm somewhere else. Now it's snowing. So like I'm bringing so many different layers of clothes that I usually overpack, and it screws me over. It takes me forever. And plus I'm going to dress nice. And then lastly is stretching/yoga. Dude, I hate stretching. After I left karate when I was a teenager, like I just stopped. I was a wrestler. I'm like, oh, let me be big and strong. And so I stopped stretching and just got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
Where now I'm a little compact ball, and that's amazing. But I also can't do like the Buddhist palm, my hands behind my back. So sometimes I can barely even touch my toes depending on the day. So it's one of those things that now you and I both understand, sadly, that we're getting older. Dude, my back hurts waking up. Just imagine after jiu-jitsu. So I was happy to stretch for 30
For
minutes, so
sure.
I feel better now. How are you?
Yeah. You know what? I'm good. Not to rub it in. Yeah, yesterday was a rough day, to be honest with you. So I know we were thinking about doing it yesterday, and then you said you couldn't and all that. Honestly, I'm glad we didn't because yesterday was kind of just kind of a Debbie Downer day, I guess. And it was just yeah, it was just not a good day. But you can't, not every day can be a good day. You're gonna have good days and good and bad days, and that's kind of what actually I'll explain the whole tattoo. What my
Oh.
whole tattoo is all about. And okay, so because I brought it up, the whole idea, so the inspiration for the snake, the red serpent I call it, is actually from the show Spartacus. And there's a part when the guy, like when he becomes a slave, his wife tells him that you're gonna encounter great and unfortunate things in life. I mean, in a nutshell, what she says. And I really keep that true in my life because I tend to be a negative thinker, and it's not because I'm trying to be I'm not trying to be a hard ass in anybody's life
Mhm.
or on myself. I it's just the way my mind works. So I always have to try to work hard to kind of keep myself positive and know that yeah, not every day is gonna be a good day. Not every day is gonna be a good day, but there'll be a lot more good days than there'll be bad days, and that's what I have to keep in my head. And it's easier said than done, especially when you're in that moment when you're in that mindset and things aren't great. But it's always good, and I always had to teach myself to talk to people and talk to people about what goes in my head and what goes in my life. But that being said, yeah, yesterday wasn't great. But other than that, no, everything's good. Just busy, man. Just busy, and everything's good. And got to watch some good fights last night. So yeah, man. I'm sorry to hear though about the fight though. So they said that, is it gonna be? So it's not in September now, or what? What? So you were saying something about it being pushed
So
back.
Brave, I know Brave has 3 events in August that I'm trying to get on, but I'm just safely assuming this is not in their words that I'm a Latino. Maybe they want me to put me in a Latin-based country. A lot of their fights have been in Europe and Asia right now,
Oh, okay.
and they're trying to promote me. They pay me really well, and I definitely agree with it. But there's the other factor of this career only lasts so long, and I want to be able to make the most of it, especially while I'm healthy. Past few years I've had knee injuries, had to back out. My father passing away as well, just not being mentally stable to fight. So for me, it's like, dude, I'm healthy, I'm mentally stable for the most part that I think, and besides the purple hair, like everything else is great. So I just want to fight.
Yeah.
So I get the whole publicity side and promotion, but for me, it's like, fuck it, I just want to fight. I get it, but so I'm just trying to wait for the best opportunity. I don't care who I fight. Again, my mindset is of a champion, so I always believe that I'm going to be the best. So I want to fight the best to do so. And if it's a new up and comer that people don't know the name of, then so be it. So for me, I'm just you know, sadly, like you said, you have to be as optimistic as possible. Things change, and I had plans for after the fight and leading up to the fight.
Oh shit. I think we lost him. Yeah, I think we just lost you, Shorty. Let me get you back on, okay? Oh shit. This is definitely getting edited. I feel so bad, Shorty. Shit. All right. Okay, we're trying to get. Oh, yeah, he's getting back on. He knows he froze. He knows he froze. Come on, Pape. Gotta get back on. Where's my wingman right now? Come on. All right, Poppy. Come on, man. Um, shit. Hopefully we get it back on. Hopefully we get it back on. Let's go. Let's go. fuck? There we go.
Hello, we back. Are we back?
That's all right. You
Sorry.
froze in a frame and you just kept chatting, and I'm like, as much as I was listening, I was like, oh fuck, it was so distracting. I'm like, come on, get the camera back, get back into it. But no, sorry. So you're probably gonna have to repeat everything you just said. Oh fuck, did he freeze again? Oh no, fuck. Oh, maybe I can. Um, let's see if I can get him back in. All right. Ah, shit. Oh, is it fucking with me again? I'll tell you. Oh shit. All right. I don't know, Shorty, if you can still hear me. Oh yeah, he got out. All right. All right. So this is the Super Luke show. I'm just gonna start yapping. Um. Yeah. So what is going on? Yeah. So I'm. All right.
All right, are we back?
Bad internet guy. So already. Uh. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I don't I don't
I
know what happened.
I don't
The moment
I
that
don't
you
know
joined,
either, but
but no, so I don't know if you want to repeat everything again or no.
yeah. It's like nah, just start
Here it
getting
comes.
into it. No, man, yeah, it's gonna back out of me halfway through. But the bad thing is, when it comes to fighting, I had goals and aspirations of like I understand the promotion needs to promote, especially Latino and Latin based countries, and I get it. But the fact is, I also need to fight, and this career only lasts so long. Plus, I want to be able to live as much of a social life as possible. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying to hit two birds with one stone of trying to stay active as possible, but also accomplish whatever goals I want to do outside of my career. And sometimes those goals are just hanging out with people. Like tomorrow's never promised.
Mhm.
Again, opportunities and people come and go. So for me, I could be home spending time with my family, given I'm gonna, stay training right now, and hopefully something changes with Brave and they put me on a different event. But the fact is, when you're a fighter, yes, you can sign the contract. And for example, in Kosi, originally last year I was supposed to fight in March. I came to Extreme Couture in January, trained for 2 months. A week before they fight, the whole event was canceled because of Israel, Palestine, the whole thing of that. Then they go, hey, you're going to fight the end of April, and Kosi didn't have his passport ready. He was supposed to get his new passport. It just didn't come in time, and it was one of those like we can't control it. And the promotion really wanted me to fight in Kosi, so I waited all the way until August to fight him. So that's 8 months without fighter pay. Again, it's not
Shit.
the promotion's fault, and Kosi was part of it. Obviously, the world was part of it with the whole Israel Palestine thing. So when it comes to it, like you just never know what happens. Look at Chandler again, waiting for this gigantic payday, and then Conor McGregor's like, another time, or not showing up to events and just whatever the case may be. So the fact is, this is not just my career as well, but it's also my livelihood. Of not just making money and paying the bills with that money, but
Yeah.
also being able to live a life. I love staying in the gym, but dude, I want to go hang out with my girl. I want to go hang out with my family. I want to go hang out and do nothing sometimes, So, which if you guys saw my story yesterday, I did nothing, completely nothing. Everything I had to do, I said, fuck it. Like I'm doing nothing. So, and sometimes we need those days, So it's one of those things to where, like you said, and you were talking about it. Sometimes we have impulsive
Yeah.
thoughts, and dude, let those hit your head. Let them just come out, but don't do
Yeah.
anything. think about it, write it down, do whatever, but don't do anything that's going to hurt you. And sometimes if you need to be by yourself or do whatever, even vent, like I just say, for me, I like to be alone. Um, I like to just be by myself and do nothing. All my friends went to the fights yesterday here in Vegas, and I was like, I'm good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the offer, but I just want to chill here, watch these fights, and do nothing. And I can tell you, I slept like a rock yesterday. It was
But
amazing. Like Patrick under the rock, that was me.
would you say you're a bit of an introvert then?
You know what's crazy is actually I'm an extreme extrovert, but and I say that with so this is actually the funny thing. I'm an extreme extrovert, but I had a lot of things happen in my life in like the early 2020s, that like 2020 all the way to maybe 2022, where or actually let me phrase that, 2019 to like 2022, dude, I faced like extreme depression and I was going through a lot of stuff to where even though people were helping me, it felt like because I'm such an extrovert that I want to help people, that I was taking on their bullshit as well. And they ended up hurting me
Yeah.
more. So instead of feeling good, or for example, if for let's just say partner stuff, let's say you go, hey man, I want to give you my everything. I'm gonna try my best to give you my everything. But at that day or that moment, maybe you are 20% of yourself. Dude, your partner doesn't deserve that. And then lastly, they'll understand of like, oh, dude, this isn't the real you. You're acting very different or not 100% yourself. They can tell. So, as much as I want to take care of people, I was actually giving the rest of me to other people, and I should have been giving that to myself. So,
Yeah.
I ended up going, man, let me just be alone. And coincidentally, the pandemic hit, and all I did was, and of course, I lived with Dean Thomas, and that guy is everywhere. So he's always in his room working, or then doing a radio show or the UFC and all that stuff. So I was pretty much in the house by myself. And so I was like, man, I was so reliant and codependent on people that I was like, you know what? Let me focus on me. And it's maybe just doing stuff, whether it's
Hmm.
talking to myself, journaling, listening to TED Talks, watching anime, which is actually a huge mental help for me, because there's a lot of like mental health and philosophies behind it, and a bunch of other things. But it was me by myself, and I had to learn. I pretty much learned long term that I wasn't happy with who I was. So if you're
Yeah.
not happy alone, then you're lonely. Like if you're lonely
Yeah.
and just want to hang out with people, sometimes that
Yeah.
happens. But if you're not happy alone, then you're in bad company, and that's yourself. So for me,
Hmm.
I think I got so accustomed to that like I tell my girl, it also funny thing. You ever seen Zootopia?
No, but I know what it
So
is.
my girlfriend's the little bunny, and I'm like the fox. Where I used to be this extreme extrovert, now I'm just kind of like, I don't mind people. I can be alone. Like I love entertaining. I love doing all that stuff. But every once in a while, I'm like, need to go in my cave later. And my girlfriend is me, pretty much me when I was younger. It was like, yeah, what do you want to do? Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh my god, let's play. And I'm just kind of like, holy shit, is this what I used to do to people? Oh my gosh, this is a lot. So but it's cool because I'm like, man, it's your turn. Go play, go do your thing, have your fun, and I'll be here to support. So it's nice little turn to the tide, if you want to say, but it's nice to know that I can be an introvert when I need to be, and be an
Yeah.
extreme extrovert when I want to be as well.
Yeah, and to build off what you're saying, for myself, even bringing up COVID, because I COVID was really hard for a lot of people, and
Hmm.
for myself, I think after COVID, I realized um like what I had to do to get myself in the right headspace. So obviously with COVID, gyms were shut down. You couldn't really go anywhere. At least in Canada, it was very, very like aggressive, especially on in Ontario. And I realized that I don't do well when I'm alone a lot. Of course, like I would say I'm kind of more of an introvert versus extrovert, but I do like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't live under a rock by any means, but I do like have my own independent time, even when, at home, like with my wife. I can be alone for myself all day long, and I'm okay with it because it's like, I got my me time. But the biggest thing I learned was if I don't have something I'm regular like if I'm not doing something that keeps me busy or whatever, it drives me crazy, and I just get in a very I don't want to say depression because that is a true that is a true meaning, and everyone wants to say, oh man, I got depressed. Well, do you really? But like I had that depressive kind of mindset, like I just didn't go for runs. I didn't take care of myself. I just kind of lacked on the diet, which is nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, but I was just lacking on the diet. There was no sense of like uh wanting to, like, bettering myself, and I just kind of sat at stalemate. And of course, again, like, gyms are closed, clubs are closed, whatever. But I just didn't have that same drive to, like, try to eat healthy, because of course there's a pandemic going on, and it's been proven you eat healthier, it does help you in the long run. But I didn't do the right things. And then once I realized that, once I figured out that when I was keeping myself regular and getting back and working out, and because for me, training and working out in martial arts is my way of keep myself in the loop, I think. And I think it's a way to kind of keep myself in line, because for me it gives me something uh, to shut everything out for a couple hours, or 2 or 3 hours. And once I realized that, it's like I have to go. And if I have to go at least 4 5 6 times a week, because if I don't, it just, of course, I like my rest days, don't get me wrong. And I have days where I drag my ass, and I know I don't want to get up at 5:30 6 o'clock and go do fasted cardio before work,
Mhm.
but I have to do it. um but yeah, like, if I don't go, I know it just drives me crazy. And I think that more people recognize those signs, no matter what you do, that helps you get in that whole mindset. Like, you're gonna it's such a relief once you figure it out.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I've been fortunate enough to, in 2018, before I signed with the UFC, I thought I was going to sign with Bellator, and they do something called merging veterans and, excuse me, MVP. Merging veterans and players. So pretty much for me, being a professional athlete, it's usually retired professional athletes. You want that camaraderie, and that's two things between like athletes and militaries, that there's always a team, even if it's a single person sport. There's always a team, the camaraderie. And
Yeah,
we do like an hour workout and an hour of open table. We just sit down, discuss whatever, whether it's venting about the positivity of life or the negatives of your life. And dude, the stories you hear, and Kamar Usman stated it, and it's also from a quote of like, if you're in a room with a bunch of people and you all decide to put your bullshit in the middle in a pile, and if you were supposed to take somebody else's, you would look at yours and be like, nah, I'm just going to take mine back. That's not bad. Because, for example, like for me, my main depression that I had in 2018 all the way to at least 2022, um, was I got cut from the UFC was first. My father died, and then I lost my engagement. So there was three things that I really, really was working very
hmm,
hard for in my life,
yeah,
and then the pandemic hit. So when you have an extreme extrovert that had everything be slowly taken away from, and a lot of it out of its control, and then now being put by itself, in a sense, in a cage or a house by
yeah,
yourself for almost a year or two, it's just like, with no fights as well, and especially as an athlete, like all you do is train, but with no goal at the end, you're just working out to work out. And, it gets boring for all of us eventually, and I'm just kind of like,
yeah,
I'm fucking driving myself crazy. But talking to all the veterans, and so shout out, MVP and everyone there. It's a cool thing to know that no matter what, you can get through it. And it's the way you look at stuff. Maybe these things were inevitable, and that's something that I had to look at. Me being cut from the UFC, maybe I wasn't ready, or that wasn't my time. Maybe my engagement was inevitable, and that just was, whatever I would have done, the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Maybe it would have prolonged, and that relationship wasn't going to last anyways. And my father dying, like, honestly, I thought my dad was gonna die years before that anyway. So honestly, good job, Dad. Like, you lasted longer than I thought. So, and we actually put a bet on it. So he beat us all. So what the fact is, things happen for a reason, and we have to be, or try our best to be as positive as possible. Because if not, that past will 100% hold us down. And for those 3 to 4 years, I was really being held down, but it wasn't because of the past, because I was holding myself down. So I didn't want to let go and push forward. So like, there's little things that remind me of it. The purple, the obviously I'm still fighting. Now I have somebody new, so it's like, there's things that progress, and you eventually
yeah,
find new goals. But that's why I say, like, write stuff down, let those impulsive thoughts out, but put them on paper, write them on your laptop, speak them, but don't do them. You know what I mean? Like, wait a little bit. Let's give it a week or two, and figure stuff out, compared to just doing it right then and there, because most of the time the impulsive thoughts aren't the best. But yeah, man. So that's why I say, like, just try your best to smile. You're alive. You're not in jail. No one's dead for the most part, hopefully, and just kind of go from there and see what happens. Like that. It hopefully it can't get any worse. Knock on wood. Oh my gosh, like my internet going out.
Yeah, and that's you being a bad internet guy. Jesus Christ, man.
Mm-hmm. Puppy Shorty had to go away. The bad internet guy came. So, it's just one of those things where you ever look back at your past, and I can tell you with all the bullshit I've done, especially with the impulsive thoughts, I'm just like, oh dude, that was stupid. Yeah, I was real sad. Like, oh man, I was real depressed. And then you look at it later, you're like, dude, why the hell did I do that? That was common sense. That was a really dumb idea. But
Yeah.
you get sad, or you're in love, or whatever the case may be, and things make you blind. So that's why I say, like, it might be impulsive, and that's fine. Hell, it might be right, but let's write it down, speak to it to somebody, and then just kind of go from there and see what happens. But don't just, all right, we're doing this. It's like, no, man, let's think about this first, because we're not kids anymore. We can't get away with certain stuff. Like, this really does affect our lives now.
100%. And I'm kind of always been a believer. I don't want to get in superstitious kind of stuff, but I am kind of a believer in everything kind of happens for a reason kind of thing. And I don't mean that like every single, okay. I do. There's a little bit of belief in me that everything kind of happens for a reason, and it kind of helped me again, kind of what I was saying before, like help me look at things and think, okay, that didn't work out, but there must have been a reason why. Because, like for example, um, not that it wasn't that it was a hard breakup. It was more because of what happened. This would have been 2018. No, Jesus, maybe 20. It would have been 2017, 2018. And I had a really bad breakup, and I was with someone who was abusive alcoholic, and it really fucked me up. For and this is me kind of opening up to public about this, but I was with an abusive alcoholic, and and because of that, it really screwed me up for a long time. And yeah, I was emotional, not because of the breakup. Like, guys, I knew it wasn't good, but it was more emotional because of everything that happened. I think that was just my release, because during that time I didn't cry. Like, I'm a proud man, don't get me wrong, I will cry, but I just during that time I didn't because I was holding it in. And after, it was almost like a release. Like, I was happy that it happened, but I was just so bottled up with emotions that because of how it happened, how we broke up, everything just kind of happened. And after I realized how fucking nuts I was for being with her, and all my buddies are like, man, no, I'm so glad. Like, hey, I don't mean to be a dick, man, but like I was warning you, man. Like, she just wasn't a good girl. And I look back, I'm like, well, fuck, is it me? Am I the problem? And he's like, no, it's never your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. She was a piece of shit. And I'm like, buddy, bro. And he's like, no, but seriously, she was a piece of shit. You're gonna get the right girl. And then over time, obviously, I stayed single for a bit. I worked on myself because I believe if you can't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? And and so it took me a while to work on myself. And then eventually I found my wife, and obviously I didn't know how things were gonna go, because you meet somebody and you don't know what's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. And my first initial reaction is, I can't go through the same thing I did before. So I gotta date I gotta see what I like and what I don't like. And I figured out what I really want in life once I found my wife. Well, obviously we're together, we're married, so obviously she did something right and I did something right. And I just realized, like, yeah, I had to go through all those years to finally find the person that was in my life, and someone who is in my life that can can help drive me and put me to point A to point B. And she really has. And then even then, like, where I moved out for her, like I moved out to her and away from my family. And as much as it sucks, like, I look back, I'm like, I love where I live now. Like, compared to where I was before, it's like a complete 360. So I believe. And then also, the job that I'm really happy at now is right where I live now. And it's just it's crazy how everything kind of works out. So, like you were saying about how you got cut from the UFC, like, yeah, it sucks in that moment, but then you look back and think, oh, was it just because, maybe was it that I just at that point in time, it just maybe wasn't meant to be, or was it, or you know what I mean? And it's and then everything else you were talking about, like, it's crazy how you look back on and think, yeah, it sucks at that moment, but was this how where I end up now? Is this where I was really meant to be? And is this what's working for me now?
it's funny that you state everything about your relationships because immediately after the relationship, I was like, all right, getting Tinder, Hinge, whatever freaking app I could find, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just start dating. I'm gonna start mingling. I was in a
Yeah.
relationship for 7 years, and
Wow.
in a
Shit.
relationship, whether you think it's her fault, she thinks it's your fault, you start to figure out whose fault it really was, and you start dating again because. I like again. I think it takes two to tango. So even if it was somebody's
Yeah.
fault, there's still some parts of you that's like you still kind of fucked up here and there, like it's not 100% me.
100%.
I definitely probably, at least in my relationship, I was like, oh man, we just can't see eye to eye. It is what it is. And then later on I started dating, and every once in a while, as the dating with certain people got a little more serious, we started getting into like little arguments, and I'm like, dude, why that? Oh, because I'm getting mad. I'm like, man, all these girls are the same. I was like, oh wait, oh no, dude, it's just me. I'm getting mad about the little stuff. Oh, whoops, I guess it was me the whole time. Huh, my bad. You start to realize
Yeah.
your insecurities, or you start to realize the little things that by yourself that you're just not happy with, and things that you need to work on. And honestly, dating does help that. Yeah, I was mingling, doing whatever, and then the girlfriend that I found now, dude, I wasn't trying to get into a relationship with her. Like she was just a really cool energy, and it was really funny because I thought I was gonna hang out with other people that night. And I remember I met her, and I was like, oh, dude, let's like give me a hug. You're such a sweet person. I was like, oh, I'm really affectionate. My love language is physical touch and words of affection. Like literally, pet me, call me a good boy, and I'm yours for life, dude. It was
Yeah.
like the best hug in the world. I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like, oh my gosh, like I just felt like a little kid again. And then we just started hanging out. And me, I'm fucking full of trauma. Like I tell her explicitly, like, hey, this is my problem. So I just want to let you know if I fight back in any sort of way, it's because of this stuff. But I am trying my best to, slowly come back. So I just want to let you know all the crap up front, so you're not like, why does he act this way? So she just is one of those people that like I feel like a rescue dog. Like she's like, don't worry, it's okay. And I'll bite her every once in a while. And she goes, oh, don't worry, I know you won't bite me next time. It's okay, don't worry. It's only a little blood. I'm like, what the fuck? Like this girl won't leave. And after a while, I'm like, she won't fucking leave. She won't leave me alone. All right, whatever, you're mine. So I call her my Pokemon because you ever played Pokemon Yellow, like like the old Pokemon games, like
No, I never got on that whole trend. God no.
well, basically, God, basically, Pokemon. Like, if you walk and you go to turn, your Pokemon is literally right behind you. There's no space, and they just turn with you and go. So she's like my Pokemon. Like, dude, she's like a leech. And so I'm like, okay, cool, fine, you can come too. So I'm like, all right, I guess we're official, whatever. But I am one of those people that like she tries to hold my hand, and I'm not publicly affectionate still. So like every once in a while, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you can have a pinky. And she'll hold my pinky while we walk. She goes, okay, little steps. And I'm just like, this fucking girl won't leave. Damn it. And just little things. Like she's just always happy. So it's one of those things I'm like, man, you know what? You're the positivity I need. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So it's those little things, man. And like you said, like you're happy, you got somebody who understands you, and that's but as you understand, like a relationship, no one's perfect. There's always some type of compromise. But is it things that are you willing to compromise with, or are they just deal breakers? Or you think they're deal breakers, but they're actually really insignificant to other people, or whatever the case may be. So for me, I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, my trauma, this, that, I'm gonna be alone forever. And this girl's like, I don't care. I'll take a pinky. Let's go. Let's walk. And I'm like, what? She goes, you don't have to be publicly affectionate. Like, if you want to be just privately affectionate, that's fine. I'm just like, all right. It's like this ain't a trap, right? All right, cool. Is that some free food? Yeah, I'll take the free food. Come here. So it's again, I feel like a rescue dog, but it's part of the process.
You know what, man? And really good movie. And before I did want to talk about something else that you talked about today on your Sunday question. Um,
Oh,
so I will get to it. So there was a quote from Robin Williams in the movie Good Will Hunting, and he talked about it. And he's trying to coach the guy that he's got. Um,
it's not your
geez,
fault.
yeah,
What?
no,
It's not
no,
your
no,
fault.
no. That's not the one. He's talking about him being in a relationship with the one girl, and he's talking about how like this girl ain't perfect, or you're not perfect, but neither is this girl. But what matters is, are you both perfect for each other? And that one goes back to me a long way, because for the longest time I was too focused on find the right girl. Like, of course, like, yeah, you want to find someone that, you're not just gonna jump at some girl because, oh, take a look at her, she's smoking. No, but like, you want to find the right person for you. Maybe she might not be perfect in every single thing that you're looking for, but is she perfect for you? Are you perfect for her? And it said, like you said, it takes two to tango. And yeah, and I really like that thing about, and it kind of just reminded me when you were talking about the whole thing about, you're like, oh, I'll give you my pinky, and she's like, I'm good with that. Like, she's open, she's completely open to it. And I think, man, you gotta keep her, man.
No, dude, I'm telling you, I don't want to. Like, I try my best to be like, here's trauma. Like, you should run away. It's gonna come back to haunt you. She says, I'm good. I'm just like, ah. It's like the little kid in the side's like, piece of candy. I'm good. I'm just like, ah, okay, whatever, man. Let's just go. So overall, man, like, I'm happy, and I think, especially because my last relationship and the relationship before, I had a 5 year, 7 year relationship, and now, this one,
Yeah.
which is still very, very fresh, under a year. It's like, man, let's just go day by day. Again, there's always going to be hiccups in relationships. I think, honestly, the hardest part is starting a relationship. Just like anything, the hardest part is the start. And the thing is to be able to accept. And I think this generation, because of social media, all we see is perfection out there.
Oh
Whether
my
somebody
god.
looks better, whether someone acts better, whether someone has money or this job or gets to
Yeah.
travel, or whatever the case may be. But again, it's, can you compromise with certain things? And if you can't, if you truly can't, then okay, it's a deal breaker. You don't force anything that really shouldn't work. If you want to, like, still hang out with the person, do whatever, cool. Hey man, do you. But if you're trying to force a relationship into, and again, I met some great women out there that are phenomenal, but I'm like, like, you're a great person, but your communication skills suck, or whatever the case may be, or again, it's just part of that process. And for me, I travel almost 8 months out of the year. So
Yeah.
it's like, that's
Yeah.
also a deal breaker for most people. This girl, she's like, yeah, we can text and call every night and FaceTime or whatever. I'm just like, all right. I mean, if you're cool with that, I mean, I'm cool with it. But if you and she's cool with it compared to most other women, were like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I want you here. I'm like, shit, and that's just part of the process. So it's like,
Yeah.
I guess in a relationship sense, it's like, it's almost a business deal. It's like, can we figure out an agreement? All right, pleasure working with you. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I do want to get to the question about your Sunday thing, but I'll add one more thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
one thing that drives me crazy is the social media, and I feel fucking so bad for the next generation, like kids maybe 10 years younger than us, or like even more, is that they see what they see on social media and they think that's how a relationship should be, and everything you post on there is how it should be. And social media, this is when you post it, oh, you gotta have the right angle. And it's like, I just put a good picture of my wife and I on there, and I don't need to have her on all my social media, because, like, at the end of the day, it's our relationship, and not everyone needs to know about what goes on in our life. And I'm proud to put her on my social media for sure. She's my wife, and I'm
Hmm.
proud of that. But yeah, people, I don't need to showcase her like she's my trophy or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's like, oh, you go. I know you're gonna say something.
no, well, it's funny because I'm a show off. I'm a show off at heart. So like, my girl now or my past girl, whatever the case may be, I'm like, if we go somewhere and it's gonna be a bunch of dudes with their girls, I'm like, no, I want you to be the baddest female on here. I want you to wear this, or like, I want to show you off because you are my trophy, because I worked so hard to get you while other men couldn't. Like, I think that's just a competitor in me, but that's just how I am. Again, very different in your
And nothing
style.
wrong with that.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
and the funny thing is, I remember I used to, at least with my ex, I loved showing her off on social media. But then social media got really corrupt when it comes to, like, people will look at your woman and go to her page and then message her and then try to hit on her. So I think I have maybe one post of my girl on my Instagram, and she's like the very last picture. Like, I don't like showing her off, and that's not because of, like, I'm trying to hide her or anything like that. I just dude, I don't like social media. People literally will contact your girl, judge her on social media,
Oh
or
no.
try to hit on her, or all this other stuff. And I think one of the biggest things, and I take part of this from my last relationship as well, is I hate comparing women to food, dude. But I'm pretty sure us guys kind of know, but I'll take all the blame for this. Is we we all got a great female, lovely, sexy, all the case, whatever. But but God, I'm gonna get slack for this. Is man, I love tacos, but every once in a while, I want pizza. Every once in a while, fuck, I
Yep,
want
yep.
Italian beef. Like, and that's why we're walking. Like, we're not trying to check some other girl out because we want that. It's just like, oh shit, that's
Yeah.
nice, and then we just go. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, my life has changed forever because this girl with the gigantic booty or whatever breasts or whatever the case may be changes. Like, oh, we're just admiring, but that's the thing about relationship is I think J. Cole has a song called Love Yours. And that's one huge thing is that he states in the song, like, there's always gonna be a girl better than yours. There's always gonna be a job better than yours. There's always gonna be a car faster, stronger than yours. Like, there's always, but
100%.
love yours. Because if you don't appreciate what you got now, you'll never appreciate what you eventually get. Because there's always going to be something better.
100%, man. You fucking hit the jackpot on that. And that's the thing. Like, hey, and then and the thing is too, like one thing that's really good with my wife. Okay, one more time I will say, and I'm gonna say what I'm gonna
Okay,
say, and
okay,
I'm
and
gonna
I
ask
gotta
you a
stop
question
too.
for
I
it.
gotta
I'm
stop
gonna
too.
ask. Okay, so um, the biggest thing that was really good with my wife and I is we're so open with our communication. Is we're really open, like she's cool. She's like, I know you check out other chicks, and that's completely normal. I want to let you know, like, I'm not gonna be mad about that. Now she's like, now if I'm with you and you start checking, you're staring around. Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed off, and I guarantee you'd be the same way if I was like that. I was like, well, yeah, but and she's like, but I'm
Mhm,
like, I get it, and at the end of the day, there's always gonna be someone better looking for sure. But at the end of the day, I always let my wife know, no matter what, I'm never gonna trade a hotel for a home. So
mhm.
there's that. And anyway, so now that I got that out of the way, I wanted to ask you. So for people that don't know, talking about you talked about it today. Someone asked you, have you ever been knocked out before, and what is it like, or something like that. Now I know you. Now you know, and I know what it's like to be like a flash knockout or like a flash TKO. I guess if you want to get
Mhm.
technical. So for people that don't know, describe what it's like to get a flash knockout.
So a flash knockdown, it's literally a flash.
Knockdown, sorry.
You, yeah, knockdown. So or flash kill, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, what
It's it's
whatever you want to.
it's it's a flash. Basically, I remember this happened with, and I'm very realistic. I don't care. Again, it's either practice or fights. Like, they're out there. I remember Patchy Mix was getting ready to fight Rafian Stotts for Bellator.
Yep.
And he's getting ready
Yeah, I
for
remember
the,
that
the
fight
the
too.
final fight. And he told me that day, he goes, and we've been sparring for a while. And he goes, hey man, do you mind shooting on me a little more? Because I believe Rafian will do so. I'm like, yeah, cool, I got you. And I honestly took a really bad shot to his dominant side, which is left. And he just, threw the knee up. He wasn't trying to like hit me hard, but two colliding forces, I ran like nose first into it. And
Oof.
I don't remember getting hit and I don't remember falling. But all I remember was hitting my butt to the floor, like getting that little bounce like in Street Fighter, looking up and going, "Oh shit!" and then looking to the side and seeing the Bellator like Paramount camera staring at us because they were filming him for his documentary
Oh
leading up
no.
to the fight. And I'm like, "Fuck!" And I kept on going. He's like, "Dude, you're right." I'm like, "I'm fine." Like, great shot, but fuck, like I was really like just sad. And then I remember like my nose was bleeding pretty bad. I just had a bad sparring day, and he got me on that. I remember my last fight in the second round, I was just walking forward. Coincidentally, I guess knees are my weakness because I got hit with the same exact knee, but it was standing up. This is just how tall my opponent was. He was just able to bring his knee up. He didn't jump. He didn't do anything. He just literally lifted his knee up, caught me right under that I didn't see coming. And those are the shots that hurt the most, to where all I remember was being on the ground and like scrambling back to my feet. I remember scrambling, doing all that stuff, and then going back to my corner, going, "Well, I think you got that round, but everything's all good." And then I forgot. Like, after the fight, Brave put up the highlight of me double legging him, and then the highlight of him dropping me, and I'm like, "When the fuck did I get dropped? Oh, that's why I was on the floor wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool." Like, so you don't feel it. That's like the coolest but saddest thing as well. Because it's cool, dude. You don't feel the pain. You're just like, oh, yep, gotta get up, go. But then the sad part is you forget about it. So when you're like, I remember Jared Brooks actually dropped me in my UFC debut, called me the spinning back fist, and I didn't know that. They're just like, oh, so how do you feel about his spinning back fist? I'm like, he didn't hit me with a spinning back fist. He called me with a couple right hands, but he didn't hit me with a spinning back fist. And then later on, like talking to like MMA Unhinged and MMA Junkie and all these other platforms, I'm just like, oh damn, it was a spinning back fist. My bad. I guess you guys did
Yeah.
talk correctly. So getting hit, you don't realize it. Um, Body shots are way worse. I would 100% take a flash knockdown or a headshot than
Yeah.
getting body
I
shot
love a
because body
shot, man.
shots, dude, you feel everything. It is so
It
much
sucks.
pain. And one of the worst times I had was coincidentally, TJ hurt his foot. TJ Dillashaw hurt his foot, and so he was sparring with like the hard bottom wrestling shoes, but he didn't care. Like he was still kicking, which whatever, But the fact was, he was throwing teep kicks, so he's kicking you with the toes, and he's kicking you with the hard part of the shoe. And I remember he just, he caught it perfectly and probably could have dropped me without the shoe, but it definitely helped more with the shoe. And dude, he hit me right at my solar plex. And I don't know if you remember, I think Donald Cerrone versus Dos Anjos, and I think Donald Cerrone versus
Yeah.
Pettis coincidentally, where he just got kicked and he's like, huh, and fell. And it was just one of those things where it's like dude, my body
Yeah.
shut down, and I've never had that before. And the three spots you can get hit by in the body: the spleen, the liver, and the solar plex. And those three things will shut you down. Um, and I know one fight I got TKO'd my second UFC fight by Alex Perez, and that I remember all the shots. I remember everything. My body just stopped reacting. Like I literally turned into a zombie, and instead of like guarding, I'm like trying to grab. My hands are in front, and then eventually, like your body gives out. I think I took
Yeah.
like 3 minutes, 103 punches that fight. So like I did nothing that fight, and my body eventually can only take so much. And even though I felt in the beginning like, oh, it doesn't hurt me that much, I'm fine. Dude, doesn't matter if it hurt or not. After so many damn punches, your body's like, all right, we gotta go, and you
Yeah.
end up losing the fight. So there's different types of KOs, but I can definitely tell you when you get flash KO'd, you don't remember anything, and then later on it might come back to you, but until you see the film, you're like, oh damn, that oh, it could have been better. But the fact is, uh, I 100% rather take a body shot than or excuse me, rather take a headshot than take a body shot because body shots you remember forever.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's one thing that my coach and mentor had taught me. He's like, man, he's like, I know you guys, Luke, I know you got knocked down before, and I know it sucks, man. He's like, but I know you don't remember, man. But he's like, you just don't want a liver shot because I've gotten liver shots before, and it sucks all the whole way down. There's just nothing you can do. You get shot, and it hurts bad, and you just drop. You just can't. Your body just shuts down, man. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like, do you want one? And I'm like, no, 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 I'm good. But my experience, I had two. One was not in the club, and the other one was in the club. The one was actually in high school. It was just some bullshit fight that I got into. It was stupid. I won't talk about that one, but the one actually was at the club. I was training at ATM, and and when I was regularly training, there's a kid there, Vince, and he's like tall, like no, I wouldn't say lanky. He was starting to put meat on. He was trying to get into the whole bodybuilding and all that, but he'd still come out and train. And he just picked up very quickly. He just a quick learner. And so I had that very. We were just doing some light sparring and whatnot. But as you know, he was throwing a harder shot, so I gave the same energy, and and then we started throwing, and so I don't know what it was, but I was like, I said to my coach, I was like, hey, can we just do everything? Because we were just more just we had the 12-ounce gloves on. We're like, yeah, we're just doing some light hits, and we are just doing basically kickboxing. And I was like, can we do everything? Because like I want to work some of my takedowns. And he's like, yeah. He's like, and he was telling me, he's like, do a high crotch. He's not going to be able. He throws a lot of high kicks. Take the high crotch and put him down, and then do whatever you want. And I said, okay. And so a couple times I was trying to feint him to get him to throw it, and I was gonna be able to catch it, and I was gonna try to do a high crotch, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember I threw something. I threw like straight to straight to the solar plex, and he didn't like it. And I just went in. I was just gonna go in, just give a couple taps to get him to respond. Like I would, again, we're buddies. We're just throwing, and then sure enough, I don't know what it was. I don't know why I did it. And I went to go for the takedown, and he just timed it right, and the shin bone caught me right behind the ear. And
Hmm.
all I remember was I just remember like I felt my back. There's like so there's like posts in the middle of the room, and it was wrapped with like some kind of like carpet padding thing, and it's like wrapped around the whole pole. I'll send you a picture, give you more perspective. All I remember is the pain on my back hitting the back of the pole. All I hear is, "Oh shit, Vince!" He's like, "Stop, stop!" And I'm like, "What?" And then I think Chris or Jay jumps in, and I started getting up and started swinging at them. And he's like, "Whoa, Luke, Luke, Luke!" He's like, "Hold on." I was like, "What fuck?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "We're going. I'm good. I'm good." He's like, "You know what just happened right now?" I was like, "I don't know." And I didn't know what happened. I had no idea what happened. It was almost like I all I remember is I must have tripped with my foot, and I must have hit my back. It was more my back that was hurting more than anything. And then it was about maybe 5 minutes later, and then just amounts of pain just on my left side of my face. And Vince is coming over. He's like he has mouth guard. And he's like spitting the mouth guard. He's like, man, he's like, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. And I was like, what? I'm like, what do you? He's like, man, you took a fucking like a big kick to the head. I was like, I don't,
Hmm.
dude, it's all good. And then it was like that. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, it's all good. And he's like, and I was going on. I was like, all right, I'm good. And they're like, no, Luke, take a seat, man. Just relax. And yeah, that was like the first instant. Other than that, I mean, I've been put to sleep, but
Hmm.
yeah, and that's not much fun either because I also didn't know what happened. But I don't know. That's a story for another time.
Yeah, I've been not completely put to sleep, but one of those like, oh yeah, cool, I should tap. Oh god, like, and they don't let go as like right when you tap, so you just like,
Yeah,
oh my god, no, I'm good, I'm good. All right, let's go. Oh, all right, and it's just
yeah,
one of those that you forget. It's funny actually. Master Bob, my coach, when we were kids, like like teenagers, maybe 12, 13, he would be like, all right, cool, we're gonna choke you out today. We're like, what? He's like, yeah, you need to know the feeling of when you're gonna go out. Like, if you don't, you're gonna react very different. One, when you do, and then two, you might. Some people panic. Just even the slightest little choke, like, oh, it's like, dude, relax.
yeah,
Try to stay calm and know when you are gonna go out. Like, okay, dude, fuck, you got me. So, dude, they put us out, and it was me, Chepe, and Carlos Hernandez who fought this weekend as well. Chepe Mariscal was supposed to fight Danny originally, but
yeah,
Dan took this fight, and all of us would be like, "Whoa, that sucked." And some people were like, "I'm good." Nope, no. It's just new the whole time. So it's everyone reacts very differently. But again, it depends on the adrenaline and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's not a fun experience, but it's also part of the sport. Look at Frank Edgar. He never got knocked out his whole career, and then his past few fights. Or look at Michelle Watterson this weekend. That
yeah.
she maybe got rocked a couple times, but man, she was still awake, alive, and kept on going. Maybe she didn't win, but dude, she did not give up. So
Her defense was
sometimes your
on
body
point.
can. She
Sorry, I didn't
The
mean
only
to.
hard part is once you get. No, you're fine. But the hard part with that is once you get to the third round, all you're doing is surviving. And I mean, she
Yeah,
did so. Again, kudos to her because Jillian Robinson is phenomenal on top. But the fact is, after so long, it's like, man, you're just taking damage to do it for 5 more minutes. I'm not at all saying the fight should have been stopped, but that's where it's a proper decision at the end of that fight to go, man, I just can't live up to what I used to be, or I just can't compete with the youngins in this game anymore just because time is slowly catching up and beating me.
yeah,
So, shout out to Michelle Watterson because she's like the sweetest woman I've ever met in the MMA community. I love that woman to death. Like, she's just a phenomenal person. But to see her go out like that is sad, but to see her go out pridefully and go, man, I had this great career in the UFC, putting up that montage for her was amazing.
oh yeah, and I had a feeling that maybe if she was gonna lose, I assume she probably was planning on retiring. They had the whole video thing ready for her, so I think it was the same thing when oh geez, geez, I'm so bad with names, and that's one thing I'm gonna be bad on here for is collecting names here. But
That one
he
person that one time when
well,
they
former
retired.
yeah, that former welterweight champion. He retired. Maybe was it this year or the last year, and they did the whole thing. They put the video up for him. Um, Robbie Lawler, like when they did the same thing, I think
Ah,
he let the UFC know he was going to retire. Like he said, no matter what, win or lose is my last fight. I know I'm done,
mhm.
and I know I want to retire. And they did the whole like they did the whole video thing. And man, I honestly I almost cried watching that. And I didn't actually watch the whole thing with Michelle Waterson's video thing. I had crap going on in the background. I was dealing with some stuff around the house, but I had watched the fight, and then I think as they were putting the thing on for, then I got up and had to go do stuff, and yeah, like it was. I mean, she had a really good career, and I think it's good for her. And I like what she said. You know, my daughter, my husband have been back me my whole life or my whole career. It's my time to back them now, and I really
Mhm.
like what she brought up. And it was just in a nutshell, it was her time to retire, and now she can focus on supporting her husband. I'm not sure what he does, but supporting her husband and supporting her kid as much as I know she probably has. But of course, her career's there too. So it was really good to see that. Um, and even that night, I know you brought up Dan Ige. I mean, holy crap. I mean, the guy coming in on what, 3, 4 hours notice. I mean, I think the night before he was kind of having an idea. Well, maybe I'll just get myself prepared in case. But I know like they're kind of saying realistically, he was coming in on like 3 or 4 hours notice, even though he was in training camp. Still, 3 or 4 hours notice. What a freaking warrior. I mean,
And his fight is in like middle of July, so like he still has a decent ways to go. So for him to be able to do
I
what he did and
yeah,
and just go, man, I'll fight at whatever weight. I usually fight at 145, but we're gonna weigh in at what 160 something. I don't care. Let's just fight.
165.
And
Yeah,
yeah, so he's like, dude, let's just fight and put on a show for the fans. For him, there was a win-win situation. Like he's getting paid, and the UFC is gonna know him as, hey, the UFC is gonna know that he's a businessman, like he's ready to go at any time, and the fans are gonna know him a lot more when it comes to publicity. Like, damn,
oh my
Danny
god,
Ige, win, lose, knockout, whatever the case may be, he was gonna go out with the brawl, and that's his fighting style. So for him to do what he did is phenomenal. Shout out to Danny Ige, and dude, he deserves a lot of respect, but also a lot of respect for Diego Lopez, because he
yeah,
doesn't have to take that fight. Dan Ige, regardless, is just a dangerous fighter. So for Diego Lopez to be, what, I think he made a post about it too. He's like, I was actually about to get paid regardless if I
yeah,
fought or not,
for sure,
because so many things were happening. I already showed up. They have to pay me the
yeah,
show money, but he's like, screw it, I'll fight him. Let's put on a performance. Like I said, I'm a man of my word. Any person, any weight, any time, and he did so,
yeah.
and he came out successful. It didn't end the best for him, but overall, dude, it's because Dan Ige is a fucking warrior, and it shows how good both those athletes are, and they deserve a great payday. Hopefully, I know they didn't get performance of the night, but overall, it was still a phenomenal fight.
Yeah, 50K better get 50K just to save the co-main event. That I mean, again, like I said, I've seen some close matchups being made. Like I know back at UFC 200, I know Anderson Silva stepped in like a couple days notice, but even
Yeah,
then
Daniel Cormier.
like with Daniel Cormier, yeah. So I mean, we've seen some stuff like that. And I think like as much as you can put on really good performances, you can no matter what promotion you're in, you can put on a great performance and be known by that, or you can be a real. I'm not saying the guys that fought for the BMF title aren't bad motherfuckers, but you can be a real true BMF to come in on couple hours notice, even though yeah you're in training camp, fighting a guy that you were not prepared for, a guy that is fighting at a weight class or no, is he fighting at, I don't know if Lopez would be fighting at 145. I can't remember, but anyway, you're fighting a guy that you might not fight at that time, or vice versa. It's crazy, and a guy like that said, "Yeah, no problem, I'll do it." Like, and I mean, of course, Eric Nexick is, a coach like that is a great freaking coach, and a guy that can help a fighter in that kind of matchup and that kind of fight, and close, in a couple hours notice fight. The whole thing was just awesome to see. But another two guys that, I mean, of course, they fought on like 2 weeks' notice. But Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska, that was those guys saving that card. I mean, freaking shout out to them, even though things didn't go well for Yuri again. But I mean, respect to those two guys as well. Those a guy like Alex Pereira, I've watched some of his stuff from the glory days, and that guy from where he's come from, and um, he's a pleasure to watch, and he's just that guy that he's like, I just I don't know, I don't all I know is I would not want to take that left hook from a man like that. He is just phenomenal.
He's a phenomenal athlete, and I think they're talking about having him bump up to heavyweight. That's like, dude, have him fight John
Yeah,
Jones. Like, have him fight John Jones. That would be phenomenal. Plus, I, I think John Jones would dominate him.
yeah, I think
Just
so.
because of the wrestling, like with zero gain, like he would just take him down and beat him up.
Yeah,
But, you know, and I'm not at all trying to put down Alex Vieira, but it's like, luckily for him, he hasn't fought any main or major grapplers. These guys all want to stand big with him, which whatever, but dude, it's just not the smartest decision. Even Yuri Prohaska was like, that first fight, fuck this, I'm taking this guy down. Alex Vieira has been able to work his takedown defense. He was able to stop one takedown in that fight and just kind of finish it. But man, Alex has done phenomenal things. Was a two-weight class champion in Glory, now two-weight class champion in UFC. Though if he bumps up again, like there's no losing for him. Even if he does lose a fight, whether
yeah,
getting knocked out by Izzy or Sean or whoever, like, dude, he's at the top. Like, who really cares at this point? He's already older. He's already
yeah.
made a ton of money. His popularity's gone through the roof. He's already done things a lot of people haven't done. So, he's at the list of double champions. So, man, good for him. And especially the fastest double champ, I believe, in UFC history. Like,
Yeah.
dude, good for you. And let's see what happens next. And hopefully, we just give him a super fight because that's what he deserves, and that would be against John Jones.
Yeah, and I think John Jones has to look at that and say, "Okay, man. I think if he had watched it or he was acknowledging it, you got to think a guy like him is looking at it and thinking, nodding his head, okay, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
And I know he still wants a Stipe fight, and I really like no disrespect to
It's too late
Stipe,
for that.
and that's the
It's too
thing.
late
Like,
for that.
so this is where I sit on that. Like, I hate being the kind of guy that, okay, I don't know what's like to fight and all that, and consistently doing that kind of stuff, but it's just more as a spectator perspective. I just don't want to see the fight because one, it's been so long in the making, and it's been so long like planned, and it's just I don't want to see John Jones fight a guy that hasn't fought since he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. And then, yeah, I mean
Mm-hmm.
his chin's recovered, I'm sure, but it's just more. I just don't want to see. I just don't want to see it. And he's been making the guy wait, and it just seems like I just don't know if the fight will sell, and I just don't. I don't know if it'll be an overly competitive fight. I just don't know if it'll be a great fight. And I think that John Jones has to look and say, "Hey, maybe this is a guy like maybe I shouldn't retire right away if I beat Stipe, or if he doesn't beat Stipe. Like maybe he needs to look at this guy and say, okay. I mean, this. I think John Jones would look at it like I think it's a fight I could win, and it's a fight that I could probably sell. And now that I mean Alex Pereira has kind of reached that pinnacle, and I think the UFC could do it. I just would caution. Um, I would caution on them because I know like it's been really hard. I mean, even with the heavyweights, you got to start making you need to start pushing that belt around. I know you got Curtis Blades and buddy there
Aspinall.
and yeah, Aspinall fighting, and that's great. But I think that once that fight happens, I know he's kind of like defending his interim in a way, but at the same time, you got to have one of the fighter those two guys fight John Jones or get John Jones to relinquish his title or whatever because it needs to start moving. And I think like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
John Jones did a lot of great things, and I know him and the UFC go way back, but UFC needs to talk. And I'm sure he's recovered from his injury, and I get that. But the train needs to start moving and say, listen, John, we need to get a fight going because the division, there's guys waiting in there like, what the fuck, like I
Mm-hmm.
want to get my shot, and I don't care what kind of promotion you're in, like I don't care what promotion it is, you have to have the ball moving because everybody wants their shot. And as you said before, fighters career is not always that long. Like you never know when the your ticket's going to be up.
Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing. So hopefully the ball does get moving. Hopefully Alex Piero fights again because he's healthy, from what I know. Besides the big bunion on his foot, and So shout out to Dr. Abazi for talking about that. He's the guy who worked on my knee. He goes, that wasn't a dislocated toe. It was, he has a bunion, and he needs surgery on the bunion eventually, because he's starting to
Yeah.
get pain with that. But with that being said, Alex Pereira for the most part is healthy. Well, maybe we'll see that fight before Conor McGregor gets back in the cage, and again, we'll just see what the hell happens next. But yeah, I'm excited for all the fights to come up. Shout out to Curtis Blades and Bilal Muhammad for their next event coming up in the UK.
Yeah.
Both Chicago boys, so definitely have to represent and support those guys, and let's see what happens. And I'm just excited for what's to come.
Yeah, you got Chicago versus UK. It's almost like the war of 1776
Mhm.
all over again. So,
Oh, there you go. You gotta have fun.
the American Revolution, part two. But that being said, I want to ask you, have you been seeing the whole thing with Deadpool and Wolverine? I just saw it on TV. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think?
I'm actually definitely excited because coincidentally, my girlfriend's like, "I want to buy you that necklace," and it's like the Deadpool Wolverine heart necklace, and
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
sweet. That's cool, man.
and I'm like, she goes, you're Wolverine, right? I'm like, yes, I know you're Deadpool, because she's so like, just youthful and positive and all that stuff, and I've become the Debbie Downer where I'm like, shut up already, let's just do the job. So it's a lot of fun where again, the opposites attract type of thing. Let's see if this thing works. Come on, come on, work for me. There you go. It's the whole
There
opposites
you go.
attract.
I'm feeling the love.
So
I'm feeling the love.
and coincidentally, even though Hugh Jackman's like 6 feet tall, Wolverine is supposed to be very, very short, like 5 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's pretty much my height of 5'4". So I think it works out pretty well where I'm just like the little angry chihuahua walking around and she's like the super random, sporadic. Let's just have fun and talk in third person sometimes and just have a good, jolly good old time.
You know what, man? I think you could pull off a Wolverine. You got the beard for it. You just have to shave. What is
Actually,
it? You gotta shave a little bit in the middle, right? You shave a little bit in the
I'm
middle. You get your hair like almost in like a. I don't know what he does, but like the hair like flays up, or you don't need the hair. You just put the mask on and get the little
I'm
shave a little
I'm
bit in the
trying
middle,
to.
and
Let me see. Do I have this photo? Please tell me I have a photo saved. Oh no, I don't have it saved. It's somewhere in my list, but I have a Halloween photo of
oh
me as a
no way.
kid dressed as Wolverine. So I'm in there somewhere. I don't know where, but I have it. Oh god, I gotta figure it out one of these days. I gotta send it to you. But yeah, I'm pretty much a little Wolverine, that's for sure. Because you get me angry, I got that berserker rage. Sadly.
If you had to, um, if you had to, if a promotion or a movie, if like a movie production, like a studio came to you and say, "Hey, Shorty, we want you to play like a certain character, um, and it can't be Dragon Ball Z. What character would you play as? Or okay, no, sorry. Let's say if you had to like play as like a real life character or someone or like in a biopic, and you can and I don't know if your acting skills, but let's say you had to, who would you play as?
One, I did act in model when I was a kid, so I can act for the most part, mainly an
That's
improv
fair.
guy. But
Hey,
I
effort is
would
key. Effort is key.
I would play Calvin Gastelum or Mike Perry.
Have you been told that you kind of look like Kevin Gastelum?
Dude, I get it every. It's funny because I get it every fucking day. Like everywhere I go, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've seen you in UFC before. You look so familiar." I was like, "I'm not who you think I am, but I also was in the UFC." So and I just
Kevin
kind of go from
Gastelum's
there and just
also
ignore it.
like 100 pounds, or no, not 100 pounds, but like he's like another 50, 60 pounds heavier than you. So
Yeah, he's getting up there, but I can tell you. Sorry, I'm still looking for this damn photo, but I can
okay,
definitely tell you that he's probably almost close to 100 pounds heavier than me right now because I know he enjoys his life, and that's fine.
that is true.
But god damn, dude, like you're disgracing the doppelganger gang, me, Nasra, and him. Like, come on, man, you got to make weight, you got to do stuff because we want to see you fight again, and you are such a successful fighter and a very good fighter when you're on
Mhm.
your game that hopefully my college coach used to tell me if you're thinking more about the weight cut than you are fighting or wrestling, then you're at the wrong weight class. So if he has to bump up to
Yeah,
185 welterweight or excuse me middleweight and do what he has to do, then dude, do it. and then
I think
obtain all your goals, and hopefully you get back down and do what you need to do. But it's a lifestyle change, not a diet, and that's the hardest part that I'm even still trying to figure out now.
I thought that he was fighting at middleweight.
He was trying to, and then didn't even make 180. So he
Yeah,
was trying to
facts.
fight
Yeah,
170, and then couldn't even make 185. And then they
yeah.
fought at whatever, or they could make 180, and they had to fight at 185. So it's like, dude,
Some of
that's
the
something's happening to where you're either not trying or you have health issues that you should be at
yeah.
185.
Yeah, and you know what one of the biggest of bad weight cuts I've seen, or not bad weight cuts, but guys not making weight was Johnny Hendricks. I think once UFC got into the maybe the Reebok when
It
they
was
got
used it
into
was
the
used
yeah, maybe it was USADA and he just stopped making weight and it was like, huh. And he just every time you can see him, he's like just the look on his face is like, bro, and you can see it on his face, just not making it on the scales. And that's probably one of those guys that, I think had so much and then just the downfall. And yeah, I remember watching Johnny Hendricks, and even when he fought GSP, I thought he won that fight as well.
Oh,
And
we all did.
he
We
was
all
so
did.
yeah, and I know I feel bad because like GSP is Canadian, he's my Canadian boy, but yeah, he lost that fight that night, and yeah, that's a huge memory of me or memory of mine. But
The big thing
you,
with Johnny, and I know from experience, but obviously not his personal experience, is he's been wrestling since he was a little kid. I wrestled since I was in high school, but I also had my traumatizing weight cuts where it's like, dude, I know the pain I'm about to endure in this weight cut, and I don't want to do it. Especially in wrestling, we make weight every single weekend. And a lot of us, like my jackass self, would gain 20 pounds, enjoy myself during the weekend, and have to cut 20 pounds every single week to make
yeah,
weight. And I wasn't even competing to wrestle. I was just competing to make weight and cool. Like I got my scholarship money, I'm not going to worry about it. But with Johnny now as a professional doing all these crazy weight cuts, and well, I just want to say after USADA came in, where the fuck is Mike Dolce been? Dolce completely disappeared out of the MMA world, but that's a whole
yeah,
different thing. He just stopped making weight. He struggled. Eventually, he left Dolce, signed with Nutrition, and was fine with Nutrition. He ended up having a 6 pack to fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but after he lost that fight, I think because he made weight so easily from changing nutritionists from Dolce to Nutrition, that he might have got a little bit overconfident. And I know that happened to me with Lou while working with him. I was like, we'll be fine. And then even though I made weight the next fight, I showed up flabby, and because I was just like days ago, like, yeah, I'm doing the diet, and I'm eating like a gigantic piece of cake on the side. So
yeah,
I think Johnny got a little too overconfident. I think that's when he fought Calvin. I'm not too sure, and then started
maybe,
struggling. Then eventually tried to bump up to 185, didn't make the weight on that one. And I think after that, because there was no belt aspirations, like he lost motivation to continue fighting. He's like, why am I doing this anymore? Like I'm literally doing stuff I don't want to do, and that's cutting weight, dieting.
yeah,
Because I can tell you, I used to train in Fort Worth, Texas, where he trains. He would come in like, dude, maybe 2 months or 3 months before whatever scheduled fight he had, but in sweats, like every, excuse me, everything, like he was ready to cut weight. I'm like, how much are you over, John? He goes, don't worry about it. I'm only over a few. And he would be working out drenched. And I'm like, dude, if you're wearing all this stuff now, two things are happening. One, trauma's kicking in because you're afraid of this gigantic weight cut. And then two, you're fucking up because you're wearing that much
yeah,
stuff that you're so uncomfortable that you need to make yourself more uncomfortable. You're doubling down to
yeah,
make this happen. But then now you're going to burn out super fast. And that's what happened to him mentally. Like he wasn't the same person anymore. And that's hard. That's another reason why I bumped up weight classes, because it's so painful that it ends up changing your mind that you just want to quit. Like you don't want to do anything anymore.
yeah.
So I'm
That
still really
internet,
trying to find this damn
that
Wolverine
internet
photo.
guy is still looking for his
I'm
photo there.
100% trying to find this photo. We are not ending this till I find it. My luck is it's one photo and I already passed it, and I have like 10,000 photos of myself. And dude, that would suck. Well, I've had this phone. I've had an iPhone since 2010. So technically, I'm looking through photos from all the way to 2010. The only problem is, it's photos of a photo. So I don't know when I took a photo of this photo, and so I can't like dial it down. So I'm like, where the fuck is this? I just know there's parts where I'm like, oh, here, there's a collage of random old photos. So
Isn't Johnny Hendricks, is he not a police officer now?
him, and Jimmy Rivera, I believe, are actually him,
And
Jimmy
Marlon
Rivera, and there you go, Marlon
Moraes.
Morris.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had a pleasure talking with Marlon, and he's such a nice guy. And I can only imagine, as much as I know he doesn't compete anymore, he's the kind of cop that yeah, that now that he's a cop, he's like, I don't see why that guy would have any problems. Like now, everything he's learned, I'm so happy for him that he got out of the game and he's doing still becoming a police officer, and he did something right, and now he's gonna be patrolling the streets. And yeah, man, I'd be like, yeah, arrest me, man, and put me in the back of the car. Now talk to me about all your fights on the way to the station. Uh, but yeah,
Arrest
no,
me,
that's
just
really
don't
cool.
head kick me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the last thing any criminal wants is to get into a fight with that guy. But I think yeah, so
Oh my
those three
gosh,
guys. There's those
dude,
three
I'm looking
guys
through
who
so
become
many photos.
man, you're gonna have to send it to
God
me after.
damn
I'm
it.
gonna have to input it after because yeah, I
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm like, God damn it. It's pissing me off because I know it's here. Oh, God, I got to start
I
favoriting
guarantee
these.
after this you'll be able to find it and be like, here, I'll send it to you, and you'll have to manually put it in.
Dude, it's gonna pop up like right when we leave too. And I know
Oh, I
that's
know.
gonna happen. I'm like,
It's Murphy's Law, man. It's Murphy's Law.
man, fuck Murphy. Whatever, whatever. I tried. I tried. I appreciate you. I hope you have a phenomenal day. And everyone else listening, I was Wolverine, I swear. If not, I'll show it on the next podcast.
No. Yeah, we're I know we're going way over time now. So yeah, I'm sure that Shorty's gonna find this photo right after this. I'm sure it's gonna happen. Guys, I just want to thank everyone for watching this. Shorty, as always, as he's still trying to find that photo.
I'm
Shorty, it's
still
always
trying to find this damn photo, dude.
Shorty, it's always a pleasure having you on, man. And I think
Yeah, we'll figure it out, guys. I love you all. I appreciate it, and I hope my internet's better next time. And yeah, if you're facing any type of mental health problems, man, ask somebody, talk to someone, vent, get out, but don't stay inside and seclude yourself. That's for sure.
yes. All right, everyone. Well, tune in next week, and this is it. And
God damn it.
as Shorty continues search for this photo. Everyone, thanks for watching, and Shorty again, thank you as always, and we'll catch you guys next week.